Sure. Thanks. So I have the honor of introducing Daniel Price, and apologies if I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything correctly. So I'm looking at your little blurb online as well. But so he is a Chinese intercountry adoptee, aviation professional, and rare disease advocate living with tub tuberous sclerosis complex. So sorry. Long day. He's based in Seattle in the Tacoma area, and he's been involved with the TSC Alliance since 2017. So yeah, give a warm welcome and let's learn some more from Daniel.
Hello, I'm gonna stay off camera. I'm kind of try to driving home right now. But anyways, my name is Daniel. Daniel Price. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am an intercountry Chinese adoptee. I have two siblings from South Korea as well as adopted, one other from China, and I am the only one in my family that was adopted that has a rare disease. As you said, is TSC, Tuberous Sclerosis Complex. Um, I identify as queer. I've started my journey. Basically, I was diagnosed through the skin back in the early 2000s. Technology was just so changing from then. Um, I've gone through the K through 12 special ed program and so on. But back in, I think it was about 2012, that's when I realized that, well, when I was around 14 or 15, that's when I knew I was different. And so just recently, the last 2 or 3 years, I've connected with people within the rare disease as well as the adopted community, identifying these intersectionalities of identity of adoption and rare disease, of how countries put up kids for adoptions that are either special needs or have underlying health conditions. I think that's very important. I do believe that I was a legacy from the one-child policy of the Chinese, or the Chinese Communist Party of the one-child policy for the time of the late 90s. But I was considered a special needs child. I had what do you call it, a heart condition, they believe I did, but I guess later they didn't know that I would have tuberous sclerosis complex. Um, and I just been meeting so many other, not only Chinese adoptees, but other adoptees from other parts of the world that identify as a queer or some sort of in the LGBTQ area, which I believe is very important within the rare disease community and having that representation. I'm finding a lot within just recently that um, I'm not going to say that within the TSC, but most in the rare disease area that it's really important to have. I went to one of these rare disease events in Singapore, and I think that was the most diverse people that I've ever been around because a lot of the events in the United States and Australia and Europe, it's not, it's all, what's the word I'm trying to say? I'm trying to, it's all like a business, I feel like business, and it's all representation by white people and people of money. And I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but also thinking of that aspect because so many people that I meet come from so poor countries in other parts of the world. And I feel that we as a community, as one, need to come together and have more representation in the rare disease community. I've been learning about different countries around the world, well, at least in Singapore and other parts, where they have laws. Apparently, you have, I didn't know this, but in Singapore, they have a national database. So if you have some sort of STD or HIV, your name is on the database publicly to the people of Singapore. And it also it is a crime to not tell your sex partner if you don't have if you have an HIV or an STD. I think that's interesting, but also it was very fascinating to understand that even when you have like one of my friends lives there and was telling me about like life insurance and all other stuff and how that is like basically like a crime. And it got me thinking about like, well, what about other countries in the world about having STDs or HIV or other things like that? So we as a community, I feel like we need our privacy to be met at a certain goal, but also still representation in that area, but also having those that freedom to not have those types of laws and regulations and make it and also have that stigma um, away from you. I feel like a lot of especially a person of color, a person that's queer, a person that has a health condition, an underlying health condition, not one, but now two. I feel like we need to make our voices heard and seen in these marginalized communities. But it's more to just a health condition. It's more you need the support, you need the people to be there, you need all that stuff. And I feel like we as a community we need that support more than ever. Um, Especially with all the different challenges that I face and most of us face moving forward in life. I don't know my time now. Um, let's
You're
see.
good, Dana. You have time
Yeah.
if you want to talk some more.
Oh, okay. I've been advocating, as you said, I've been advocating since 2017. I'm mainly just focusing on trying to find answers for myself, in my health condition. I just feel like at least the American healthcare system, I've given up a lot on the healthcare system. I've learned that people in Australia get healthcare a lot cheaper for the medicine I take. About what 90% 90 to 95% cheaper than I pay here. Um, one of my medicine is $10,000, and yet in Australia, for the same quantity, same strength, same medicine, is only 80 to 95 USD for the same quantity. And it's funded by the government, how it's not publicly or what it's not privatized, it's governmentized, I guess to say. So that's another thing that I've really I'm not a fan of is the privatized that I believe that in the United States and other parts of the world, I believe that we shouldn't have to suffer for our own healthcare, um, for medicines and our health.
100%. And seriously, thank you so, so much for sharing. Everything that you had just mentioned is a testament to your strength, but also a really, really important reminder to all of us for why we're here, what we're doing this for. And I think that it's again, just thank you so much for sharing. So if anybody has any questions for Daniel right now or any thoughts just to piggyback off of. I'm seeing a heart from Kate.
I'm talking and I'm muted. I have a question for Daniel, and I would just like you to touch on when you say support, and especially touching on beyond the medical when it comes to that support that's mental, that's emotional. Can you touch on, I guess, for you, how important that's been and how you've been able to manage all the change, in spite of the lack of support?
I think being in community is very important. As you said before, find your village, find your people. They say that a lot within the adoptee community. They say that, I don't want to say that much in the rare disease area space that I've seen, but a lot in the adoptee community. Know your people, find the people that support you. If they don't support you, sorry, but cut them out of your life. It's plain and simple. You need people to be there for you, to be able to support you in ways sometimes you don't even know. I think it's disappointing. My parents have been in denial of at least for tuberous sclerosis. My mom has worked in the medical field for 32, 33 plus years. She was an office manager, so she had the resources and doctors that could have supported her in the ways that she needed. And Yes, the challenges and things you just have to find the support and people that will support you and and then take one day at a time. It's one of those I have to take one day at a time. There's a lot going on, but yeah, there might be dark clouds at the end, but there's rainbows and great stuff at the end of the rain at the end of those dark clouds and those rainstorms.
Totally agree. And I think that honestly, Daniel, even just hearing that last part of your story, Nate, I think that a tremendously powerful outcome and something that I think we've talked about before for SOS in general is having a page that is available for others who are allies in whatever way, shape, and form that like how you can best support your friends, family, or anything and everything in between, whether it's through a diagnosis, whether it's through finding their own personal identity. I think that there's, you know, it's very confusing, and I know that for a lot of my friends, it's really hard for them to ask me about certain things, specifically when it comes to rare diseases. And I think it's a very common thing for the queer community too, is people walk around it because they don't know how to address it head on in a meaningful, and truly compassionate way. So I think that that would be a really strong thing that we could work on as a team. And Daniel, I think that your story and your input would be tremendous just to share. I think we all have that thought in the back of our minds during any point of our lives, like, wow, here's what I wish somebody would have said to me during that time.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be perfect every single time, but your story is so important to creating a resource like that for others that are looking for not the exact right thing to say sometimes, but just working towards a better system of care, whether that's, as Nate was saying, like mental and emotional or true scientific, and you're a doctor in providing that space for somebody to be able to speak freely about it. So thank you. Again, I'll keep saying thank you until I'm blue in the face because that's a really, really impactful story across the board.
Oh no, thank you for allowing me to speak. And I think it's very important just to have these spaces for our community. This is like I would say this is my second space area that I have been able, yeah, second space area that I've been able to speak or participate in the that intersects rare disease and queer the LGBTQ community. I have not been able to intersect the all three my identity of adoption, rare disease, and queer, but I have in the future, oh, well, not in the future, but I have currently still been finding more and more people, at least in the adopted community, of some sort of health condition and that are identified under the LGBTQ umbrella, which is quite interesting to say less, but fascinating as well. That again, we need to be there to support each other and have these spaces available, safe spaces available for everyone and anyone. The worst thing I would never ever want anyone to do is take their own life, and I have I'll just say I've known one or so that has taken their own life, and it's very, very sad. And again, we need to have these spaces. We need to talk about it, and that's the important thing, especially in these hard times here in the United States and around the world too.
Very much so. Very much so.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing so much like of your story, and everything you said was just like so powerful. Um, it strikes me, and maybe I'm just thinking about the name Stripes of Solidarity and like about solidarity as a concept, but it really strikes me that so many people today have shared things from other movements that like are really helpful to re-understanding how the rare disease landscape overall works. Like if I have to think of a group of people who are so skilled and shouldn't have to be at like dealing with overly complicated, asinine record keeping systems, it like is transnational adoptees. And it's interesting because like I've never thought about that in conjunction with rare disease. And so some of those lessons of like bringing all of those struggles together is like really helpful. Thank you for sharing. Basically, everything you said is like making me think a whole bunch of big girl thoughts.
Oh yes, of course. What you just saying from what you said is, I think it's so fascinating. Within just the last 1 to 2 years, I've been intersectionality of these identities as to meet so many people that have other health conditions or underlying health conditions and are adoptees and identify as a queer. It surprises me there's so many adoptees that identify as a queer person, and then some of them that have other underlying health conditions, and it's mind blowing. But it's also just think about like where they come from, what country, and to see the amount of either areas that we as a community as one need to be there to support each other, and I think that we need to create more space like that for everyone.
Absolutely, Daniel. And I did just want to say that if it's anything the rare disease community has shown me, it's that you can find people who have almost like shockingly similar experiences to you that you would have never found elsewhere. This being a prime example, being queer and rare. But I would dare to say that you may find some luck in our community finding another adoptee as well. Queer, right, adopted. I feel like that's not a stretch. Um, and I think seeking out that community is important and special. And if you want, we can see what we can do to put out some feelers because Carter knows some people, Courtney knows some
Yeah, I'm
people.
actually
We
thinking
all
of
know some
someone
people.
who's also in
So
the Seattle area who's been having very similar conversations, also rare, also local, talking about like experiences as an adoptee. So I'd love to connect you.
Oh, thank you. And yes, I think I don't want to take any more the next speaker's time, but yes, I think we need to connect everyone, connect all the dots and everyone together.
I
I
love
think
this
that's one of the most
community so
powerful things
much for
about
that.
all this is like it's a stepping stone too. And that's so beautiful in so many ways. And I'm so sorry, Carter. I think I cut you off. I might be working on a lag right now. All right, good. Well, thank you so much, Daniel. And I did send that link. Hopefully it's the right
Yep.
link. Courtney, if you could just confirm that for me. I think it is.
And I got it. Thank you.
Cool. Perfect.